Htwow November Season 4.
Hello. You are listening to the November 2020 episode of Htwow, High Tea with Old Waver. Thank you so much for being patient because this is a little bit late, and you'll find out why coming up very shortly. But before we get to the amazing content and the heartwarming stories that no doubt will send you reaching for tissues and picking up your phone and calling every loved one you have, we want to let you know that we're continuing the amazing and awesome promotion that we kicked off last month. This is what I like to call the Pimp Us on Apple Podcasts promo. I just came up with that on the top of my head.
Hashtag it.
So all you have to do, go to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, punch us up a 5-star review, write us some words, and then before you hit enter, do a little screen grabby and email that to me, htwowpod@gmail.com, or you can tweet it at Old Waver, and I'll retweet it, and people will be like, wow, look at that awesome person listening to that awesome podcast. I want to follow them and all of their friends because they're obviously amazing and they have great taste. So if you do that, if you write a review and you screen grab it and you send it to me, then I will send you an Htwow koozie.
Man.
It's an exclusive Htwow koozie that you could not possibly get unless you are a patron or you bought it with your own money off of Zazzle.
Amazing. It keeps your cold drinks cold and keeps your warm drinks warm.
I mean, I guess it works on warm drinks too. It's one of those collapsible, it's not one of those that's going to take up a bunch of room. It folds flat, it's white, and it has the full color Htwow logo on both sides.
Both sides.
On both sides.
Both sides.
Both sides. So no matter how you're holding your beer, people will be like, oh, damn.
Damn. It's like two koozies in one.
They listen to that sweet-ass podcast that I've never heard of.
Man.
So, yes, please do that. Please spread the word about Htwow and go to oldwaver.com and sign up for the Premium After Dark podcast. And by all means, have a Merry Christmas. God bless it.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, random and mild, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Sleep in heavenly peace.
At peace. At peace. At peace. At peace.
Pod.
Or maybe she's like one of those really cockney girls who's really ballooned up and eats lots of scones all the time.
Man.
my best friend.
We're flying high. We're watching the world pass us by. Never want to come down. Never want to put my feet back down on the ground. It's nice that we're not on two different, like on a Zoom call, and we can sing at the same time.
Because that's what people want.
That's what they want.
Because our voices meld together like butter.
He never lets me down again. Just like that.
Hello, this is Htwow. High Tea with Old Waver. That's what it stands for. It's an acronym. It also stands for High Tea, Toby, with Old Waver, me. Like if you ever wondered how we got our name,
How did we get it?
you're High Tea,
Uh-huh.
and I'm Old Waver, and you're with me talking
In the same
during the
room.
podcast.
We're in the same room, Dave.
We are in the same room.
Yeah, we
Don't
did
care. We're opening this bitch back up.
it. You got the antibodies.
That's right.
You're like Superman.
I know. I just lick handrails and doorknobs everywhere I go.
Good.
This is Htwow episode 41, the belated November episode. And we'll get into why it's belated here in just a second. So this is a song swap and a beer swap. I brought the beers this time. Non-COVID times, our beer sponsor is Goodfriend Package.
Woo!
And we want to give them some love. Just, because they're still open and they'll still make you a sandwich. You just have to take it to go. So check out Goodfriend Package, 1155 Peavy Avenue.
Sandwich.
Lovely sandwiches and usually a fine selection of beers to go, but not so much now. So actually, these beers were brought to my home by our good friend Dale. And I was leaving in haste this morning and didn't want to run by the beer store or make decisions, so I just grabbed stuff that I had in the fridge.
Dale was our beer provider?
Well, for this one,
Oh, okay.
our first beer is Spindletap Brewery's Hop Gusher IPA. Are you familiar with Spindletap?
No, I mean, I am familiar with Spindletap.
At Six Flags?
No, it's a very famous Gusher out in West Texas. I don't know if you know what
I don't like it.
Spindletap
I don't like
was.
it when you say Gusher.
Is it because it's creepy or is it sexy?
Both.
Yeah.
The Spindletap at Six Flags, that was the thing when they would pin you to the wall with the centrifugal force and then the floor would drop out and you'd be stuck to the wall.
Yeah, I never got on those things.
Wasn't that the Spindletap?
Probably. I don't remember that. I remember I was more of an Astroworld. I was I'm Houston growing up.
Well, Spindletap is from Houston.
There you go.
So you are supporting H-Town. Can you read the ABV? It's like white on yellow.
Why
can't read it.
Why do they do that?
Can't possibly read it. Is that 6.5?
It says, where are you, on the front of the can or
On the
back?
front at the bottom.
It is what's funny is I have to get out of the light. Yes.
6.5.
6.5.
Yeah, I'm not killing us this time, although stay tuned for beer number 2 because I'm going to make Toby drink that one blind.
That's because it's gross. So you got me some.
Yay!
It's called peanut butter and jelly.
It's close. Yes, so this is a beer swap and a song swap. So I think we're sticking with the new and improved, streamlined, sexy fighting weight version of Htwow. where we choose 4 songs rather than 6 songs, and then the After Dark, which we'll talk about later, is 8 songs. And so, and this is a very special Htwow, because our 4 songs are not 4 songs that we picked because we want to play for one another, or they're new jams that we just can't wait to debut on our international pod.
That's right.
We are playing songs in memory of our good friend, and if you're a fan of the pod, a name that you're very familiar with, Manny. Unfortunately, we lost Manny about a month ago. Was it a month ago already? No, it's like 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
Time is really, really weird.
Yeah, it is really weird. And so the last couple of weeks, of course, that's the reason why, the pod is, of course, delayed. There's been a lot on our...
Yeah, we had a lot of grieving to do, a lot of things to do. He was a single guy, and so, it was up to friends to kind of help his parents get everything in order. So, it's just a weird experience. And we're not going to make this all heavy and weird. We may get emotional from time to time just because we're talking about our friend, but we want to make this a joyful celebration of who Manny was to us and the music that kind of fueled his life. Because he was as much about music as either one of us, maybe more.
Well, I think it's the reason why... Well, I know that you knew him from high school, but it's definitely the reason why we kicked off our friendship was because of music. Because you know how it was back then. If you were into weird music, you knew that you were going to be friends instantly. Right.
If you met someone who had even heard of, much less was the super fan of an obscure band that you liked, yes, that's the foundation for an instant friendship.
It's instant. The second you run into somebody and the first 3 bands that you talk about, you're like, well, obviously I'll be able to tolerate this person for a very long time,
right,
if this is what we're going to do.
And Manny was the kind of person that if he didn't like the first 3 bands that came up in conversation, that he may never talk to you again.
Yeah, you're done. That's over. And I totally understand that. I might be the exact same person. But yeah, you are right. We're going to keep it light because it's another thing. When you ask people like, well, that's what he would want. That kind of stuff. Because we did, when Manny was in the hospital, we had a few DBS shows. And I was kind of feeling weird about even playing them. And I mentioned it to 2 or 3 different people, like, yeah, I'm thinking maybe I should cancel these or whatever. And it is kind of one of those, people really do get in your face about it and go, if you cancel these, do you know how mad he would be if you cancel, that kind of thing? And you're just like, oh, well, I was just thinking it was weird and maybe we shouldn't. And they're like, no. He'd be so pissed. And he would definitely be pissed if we had a very depressing, super sad podcast. That's not going to be... He would hate that.
Yes.
So, of course, we're going to keep it light. We'll keep it funny because that's how it is. And I think this is going to be one of the best ones ever because, of course, we're playing
the hits.
The jams of the jams. These are all Manny's favorite bands, so they're all of our favorite bands, and this is great.
Yeah, it was hard for us to pick the particular songs, but not the bands. Now, we started with Depeche Mode because it was kind of a coin flip between Depeche Mode and New Order.
To kick it off?
To kick it off.
Yeah.
But we ended up going with Depeche Mode because later in life, Manny, I think, had worn himself out on New Order, and so he was much more inclined to listen to Depeche Mode than New Order.
I would say initially New Order might have been his number 1.
Yeah, I think back in high school days, for sure. Then we're going to kick things off here in a minute with The Cure. Then we're going to play some Sundays, some Cocteau Twins, and the Smiths, because those were his top 4 and he would always vacillate between which one was at the top of the list.
Right, and then we'll, of course, after dark, we'll go into Joy Division and New Order and just everything else we can think of.
Right.
But you're exactly right. This is going to be a good one, man.
It is going to be a good one. So how did Depeche Mode cement your friendship, or what was the memory that you were going to go
Well, of course,
into?
we've been to a ton of Depeche Mode concerts together, and I think the battle used to always, and we've talked about this on the pod before, of who's better live of the top two bands. It's definitely Depeche Mode or The Cure, and the argument will go. I've been on both sides of the argument depending on who you saw last.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think that they're just two different beasts. No doubt about it. But we've gone to many Depeche Mode concerts together. But this is the deal. Manny grew up, I guess, till 14 or 15 in Houston. Mm-hmm. So my very first Depeche Mode concert was Black Celebration. Of course, we didn't know each other. But have I ever told you the story about the guys, the hairspray flamethrower guys? Okay, so in front of me, I was there with my high school girlfriend and like two other people. And right in front of me...
What venue is this? Do you remember?
Southern Star Amphitheater. So it looked just like a Starplex.
Okay.
Exactly. Well, except the floor was flat. It had the grass thing above it, but it didn't like go down with seats. Like they were rows of seats that could be removed, I think.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So we're in our rows, and these goth guys in front of us that were wearing, you remember back then you would wear the tights, but you would have, when you were a dude, you could wear like the long, like the Simon Gallup dress.
Yeah.
Kind of black, real long thing.
Yeah, sometimes pinned up in the middle.
Yeah, and so they would have kind of these long skirts on, these dudes, and then the full-on kind of sweater jacket kind of thing over it. And so they looked cool as hell, and they were right in front of us, and they all had braces, which was also, the goth with braces is a good look, because they're like 14 or 15. And one of the first times I talked to Manny about Depeche Mode, we both figured out we were at the same concert, and we were on the floor, right in front of the stage. He was probably 4 rows up from me and to the right, sitting on the aisle. And I was on the aisle back, about 4 rows from him to the left. And I was like, yeah, and there were these goth guys, and they had this hairspray, and he was like, immediately, the guys with the lighters that were shooting the flames in the air? And I was like, yeah, those dudes were right in front of me and my girlfriend, and we loved it. Like, the security people just kept coming over there and telling them, like, you got to stop doing that.
They're just blasting flaming Aquanet into the air?
Yeah, exactly. It was Aquanet, and they would just kind of get their lighter and go... and do it, so of course everyone would see him.
Right.
So I was
doing their own DIY pyrotechnics.
Yeah, but he immediately knew. He's like, yeah, they were back to the left of me, right to the left. I was like, man, I was right behind them. And he was like, that is super cool. And then we talked. Book of Love opened up. It's a good show, man. When was the first time you did your Depeche Mode show?
Oh man.
Because we would have had to have been easily 15 at this Black Celebration.
Yeah, I didn't go to shows when I was a kid.
Maybe 14.
Because I was sheltered. My parents didn't let me do fun things. And so...
smoke with cigarette.
Yeah, so I didn't go out and do stuff until I had my own car, basically.
Okay.
So I don't think I saw Depeche Mode until... Man, I'm not even sure. I don't even think I saw them until...
You saw Violator.
I don't even know if I saw Violator. Where did they play for Violator?
See, yeah, that was a Houston one too, because I got fired because of that show.
I don't think I saw them until, like, turn of the century. Like, whenever they kind of came back. I've seen them... 5 or 6 times in the last 20 years.
Yeah,
but
once you catch it once, it's on.
Yeah, but I don't think I've seen the... I saw them in Austin, I saw them in Boston, I saw them several times in Dallas, but I don't think I ever saw them back in the day. Mm-hmm. I think I missed all that.
Well, it was really cool, because Black Celebration for them, when they get to... you know, because during Music for the Masses and all that, they realize when they're filming the 101 concert that Houston's going to be probably the biggest concert on the way to California, on the way to the Rose Bowl, right? Because they already know Black Celebration was a huge surprise for them of how packed it was, because they were big on the radio in Houston for some reason. KRBE was just into them. So I'm guessing they were big in Dallas too at that time. 86?
Yeah, that was pre-Edge, so...
Oh, then no.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been.
Yeah, Q102 wasn't going to be playing them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's my... we just happened to be at the same concert, like 4 rows from each other. That's pretty cool. But
It's
see
so
what I'm saying?
awesome.
It's because of music stuff.
Yeah. Well, as we said, Manny would go back and forth between which band was the best of all time.
He loved that.
He wouldn't always land on The Cure, but he would agree that The Cure was the best live band of all time. Mm-hmm. And I know one of his favorite things to do when we lived right across the driveway from each other, I'll talk more about that later, that he would... You know, he was always an audiophile, so even when he was living in tiny apartments, he would have a giant stereo system.
Yeah, he used to work at Circuit City, remember?
Yeah.
That's why he had all that stuff.
And so he would watch the Cure show, the concert film. Mm-hmm. I think it was filmed in Detroit.
I can't remember, but that's why he
Was that the Disintegration tour? Or was that the album before? Was that Head on the Door or Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me?
No, show was the Wish tour.
Was it?
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
that's the one that was at Texas Stadium.
Yeah, so he would turn off all of his lights and crank up the Cure show. And it might have started with this.
I think they usually did. They definitely just started the Disintegration tour with this.
Yeah, so we're going to play The Cure off of Disintegration, Plainsong for Manny on Htwow.
Perfect.
to the yeah.
Do you remember that song, Dave?
I do. Man. Holy God.
What a way to kick off a record. Goodness.
I mean, I could, if I closed my eyes, I could imagine Manny doing his air conducting.
Yeah, where he just does the hands overhead thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, we'll get into the concerts and stuff. You need to get to your next.
Well, you were right. It was the Wish tour. I was right that it was at in Detroit or Auburn Hills.
Oh, is that where it was?
Palace at Auburn Hills, where the Pistons used to play.
God, that's weird. I wonder why they picked Detroit.
Yeah, I don't have any idea, but the show was recorded on the Wish tour.
Yeah,
and that was his all-time favorite.
We'll get to why that's important in a minute.
Yeah. So, I wanted to give a little bit more color around Manny. As I said, folks who have listened to the pod have heard his name mentioned. He's made appearances on the pod. Ticket fans, if anyone remembers the B team from the Ticket, that was me and Toby and Manny when the rant ended and they were looking to replace the rant on Saturdays. I ran in the B team, which was the three of us, and we did a couple shows, and then Danny decided that he might want to do it, and then we did a few shows of the Orphanage, and then they ended up greenlighting the Orphanage to take over for the rant, but then the B team did a couple fill-ins for the Orphanage later on. Yeah,
and it got much better after we figured out, hey, let's not meet at a bar the night before and take away all the funny before we get there the next morning.
Right. Let's not try and recapture all of the stuff that we talked about the night before.
Yeah, let's meet up and pretend like we haven't seen each other, even though we were together for the last 6 hours and we're very hungover.
Yeah, so if you were a Ticket P1 or an Htwow P1, hopefully the name Manny means something to you. And wanted to just give a little bit more background. I'm not going to read his full obit because there's, the biographical stuff that, you don't need to know about. But he did pass away on November 19th of this year. He was at Baylor Medical. And, there were some moments where we thought he might rally, but, ultimately the decision was made to let him go. So after, about a 2.5 week hospital stay, he ended up passing away at the age of 49. And I kind of knew that this was going to fall to me.
The writing bit?
The writing of the obit.
Of course. You did a great job.
I didn't volunteer. I didn't want to raise my hand, but then when our friends Robin and Craig, who were kind of the friends who came through to the max for Manny, they were the point people. They were the go-between between the hospital and the parents and the friends. And
yeah, they did a lot of work in those 3-4 weeks there. That they're in Dallas, and Craig knows the parents, and Robin was around. Robin knows the parents really well too. It's just, it made the most sense, and boy, it was nonstop.
Yeah, so they did so much great work, but they were also so fried that they couldn't even think, much less write an obit.
And this is your thing, man. This is your deal.
I mean, I am a writer by trade, and so for better or for worse, it was thrown in my direction. And so I just want to read the back half of it, the part that kind of paints the picture of who Manny was and what he meant to all of us. And, I'm not doing this because I want to read my fabulous writing on the pod. I want people to, I want this to be part of Manny's legacy, because this will be on the internet forever.
Yeah, it's info.
And so
not everyone lives in Dallas and is part of the P1 thing.
And I'll talk a little bit more about his legacy in just a moment. But so after all of the biographical stuff, blah, blah, blah. The ultimate conversationalist and effortlessly funny, Manny made friends everywhere he went. He loved to quote his favorite shows, Seinfeld, 30 Rock, The Simpsons, and Family Guy, but it was his off-the-cuff bits and impersonations that would have friends crying with laughter. An original new wave kid, Manny once had the most incredible head of hair. Even after his enviable coif was gone, his love for the music of his youth remained, often debating no one in particular about which band was the greatest of all time, Cocteau Twins, The Cure, The Smiths, or The Sundays. This passion for music and his knack with electronics led him to join his college friends in Deep Blue Something as their lighting director, sharing in their success as they toured the world. His thirst for adventure continued later in life, planning epic European treks for his friends and following in the foodie footsteps of his hero Anthony Bourdain. Manny was also a die-hard Dallas Cowboys fan, proudly wearing his Jason Witten jersey to the only Cowboys sports bar in Manhattan, and coming up with outrageous watch party themes like Pizza Off and Chili Bow, the latter of which he won a record 3 times. He was the glue that held his friends together and loved them all like family. His magnetic smile, contagious laughter, and genuine warmth will never be forgotten. So that is what I came up with to try and distill 49 years into 3 paragraphs.
Man, you did a great job with that. It is, it's heavy. You know, I didn't read it for a couple days on purpose.
Yeah.
Because I knew what you were going to do. But,
yeah,
you nailed it.
And so right there smack in the middle, you know, after we talk about the 4 bands that we're playing on the pod, is his stint as lighting director for Deep Blue Something.
Yeah.
As we were all reminiscing over the last few weeks, you had a funny story about how he totally faked his way into that.
Well, it was also funny because I think after the funeral, remember his dad asked me about it, like how he became the lighting director, and I told him he completely lied.
Yeah, so
he absolutely lied to it.
Yeah, so before you tell the story, we went to the memorial service, and you know, there was a part that was strictly for family and, you know, strictly like Hindu ritual. You know, even though Manny was you know, of indeterminate faith, he was a man of some faith. Yeah,
for sure.
And you know, he did believe in a higher power, and his parents are devout Hindu, and so they did, you know, their ceremonial stuff, and then the rest of the friends came in, and there was a service, and then after everything was done, then we all gathered together in the lobby because his parents wanted to meet everyone, because...
And they're the sweetest people.
They're the sweetest people in the world, but
it's unbelievable.
They lived in Houston for forever, and then after the hurricane, they were flooded out, and then they moved to Florida, and so they've been in Florida for a long time. And so, unless you were friends with Manny in high school, which some of our friends were, and I knew Manny in high school, but I never went to his house or anything. So, only 2 or 3 of the attendees at the funeral had ever met his parents.
Well, no, I'd met them before.
Oh, you had met them before?
Like a parking lot in a mall in Houston, like when we're on the road, and just because we just all wanted to meet but very short, you know.
Okay,
I think it was more like Manny was just like, you got to see my parents to see how much they're the Indian version of your parents. Because they're the exact same size, and they're both so super sweet, you know.
Well, he obviously, Manny's dad obviously didn't recognize you, because as he was going around,
we all got our masks.
Well, we all had our COVID masks on, but and so finally he gets to Toby, and Toby sticks out his hand. And he says, "Hi, you know, I'm Toby. You know, I've met you before, but I'm Toby." And his eyes lit up, and he was like, "Toby, I still have the CD, Deep Blue Something."
Oh man, it was too much. I didn't know what to do, especially during the COVID times. I'm like, we're not supposed to hug people, but I just had to.
Yeah, you had
There's
to.
nothing I could do, and then we all just kind of.
But yeah, you told the story of how Manny lied to you.
Yeah, it was later on.
You were friends already, right?
Well, of course, and and we all knew we liked the same music, and I think we even went to the Texas Stadium show together, like
the Cure show.
Yeah, because Curve opened up, but we had some friends that used to do lights for us, but it looked more like a hippie band thing. You know, where there was like the kind of
swirly lights.
Yeah, the swirly lights, and there were projectors. On like 2 screens on the side, and like the gel stuff that it looked more like I don't know. But we also noticed that when you have a bunch of films going on both sides of the stage and like all this stuff, because we really wanted it to look crazy all the time, that people don't watch you anymore. They just watch all this crazy stuff that's going on. So after a while, we were kind of like, you know what? These guys, I just don't know if this is working out anymore. And I think they went on to do something else, and who knows whatever happened with all that. But we were without a light guy, and Manny was at all of our shows because he was our buddy, he was our friend anyway, and he was like, you know that I could do all that stuff. You know, I've been to it. I'm like, well, do you know how to run lights or do any of this stuff? He's like, yeah, I ran all the stuff for all the drama department stuff in high school stuff. I knew how to do all that stuff, which is we found out 5 years later.
Total lie.
Complete lie.
He was a day tripper in the drama department.
Yeah.
He never touched a light.
But he also is one of those guys that we all know from college that might not have gone to class a whole lot, but is the guy that will make 100 on the final just so the professor will pass him.
Right. He had a photographic memory, so he would just wait till the night before and cram.
And yeah, and that's what he did for lighting. He just would get the manuals for all these moving lights and all this stuff and would just figure it out real quick, and the next day blow everyone's mind. It was crazy. I have no idea how he... But also, he's been to a bunch of concerts that we all love the exact same look. Like, that's the look. And the Cure show... You need to go get the DVD, the show. That's what it's going to look like. So be prepared for this. Because that's what we tried to copy that as much as we could, that's what the show, the light, all the moving, everything. But then he took it to a different level that had it a little bit more, not so smooth. He kind of had more of a dark version of it, more of a Joy Division-y Cure mix, you know what I mean? So it looked, and also Depeche Mode, because
yeah, he would strobe in there every once in a while.
Tons of it, but that is, he toured with us forever, and it all. I mean, he had to eventually wear headsets with 3 guys on scaffolding with spotlights, tell them the different points of how to do it, and then while he's had 3 controllers working like 20 IntelliBeams on the Starplex stage with all the regular lights, and then having all crew people run all the smoke and do all the other stuff. And he just kind of figured it out on his own. No training whatsoever. It's wild.
It's wild.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
He was a savant.
Man, I don't know how he did it.
When he applied himself, that's the key word. When he cared about something and he applied himself, there was really nobody better.
Oh, he went for it. There's no doubt about it.
Most of the time, he couldn't be bothered.
Yeah. Well, let's play some more tunes. That's enough of those.
Well, I do. Before we play the next song, I do want to mention. So I read the fluffy part of the obit, and I mentioned that. Or maybe I didn't mention, but we put together, Craig and Robin, who we mentioned before, put together a fundraiser in his memory benefiting the ASPCA for homeless animals, because Manny, the things that he loved almost as much as music were other people's kids and animals.
Oh, yeah.
And he had a sweet rescue dog, Laszlo, that ended up finishing out his life with Manny's parents in Houston. And Manny's mom would tuck Laszlo into bed every night. It's so sweet, but, thought that was an appropriate memorial for Manny. And also my wife, Marissa, who's really good with the iMovie. Everybody had put together like a shared album of all of these Manny memories, and so Marissa stitched it all together into kind of a slideshow / music video and put it to music and stuff. And so all of that stuff, the obit, the fundraiser, the video, I'm going to just compile all of that on oldwaver.com in the episode post. So
good.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners, this shows up in their podcast player and they just play it and they never go to oldwaver.com, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But if you do go to oldwaver.com and you click on this episode, all of that stuff, kind of about everything that Manny meant to us will be there if you want to read more, and if you want to give to the ASPCA in his memory, that would be really awesome. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. But yes, the next band on his rotating best band of all time list is the Sundays, and they are a dark horse. Not a lot of people maybe these days remember them. They had a moment before grunge, where their first 2 records were pretty successful on college and alternative radio, and everyone our age had a crush on Harriet Wheeler. Uh-huh. But then Harriet and the guitar player got married, and they went off and had babies and quit putting out records. And so I don't know that anybody knows that much about the Sundays anymore, but they were definitely in Manny's top 4.
Mm-hmm. They were big enough to, when I saw them at Arcadia on the reading writing one, and there was a lot of people in there, but the Deep Ellum live show for Blind was absolutely packed.
I was at both of those as well.
Yeah, you couldn't move at the Blind. It was great.
Well, we're going to play something off of the first record, Reading, Writing, and Arithmetic, because that was Manny's favorite record of theirs. And we're going to play... We've played some Sundays jams on the pod before, so we had to make sure we weren't repeating ourselves. And so we haven't played this one before. This one was definitely one of the ones that Manny was super into, and it also has like 3 million plus plays on Spotify, so you might have heard it before. This is Can't Be Sure by the Sundays on Htwow. For Manny.
It's a great song, Dave.
Oh, man. Harriet.
I mean, everybody that was a fan really wants them to come back.
I know.
And we talked about it before.
Do they know?
Remember I told you about the article? Remember?
Like, they are not on any soch. They are completely under the radar. They live on, like, a farm in Scotland or something.
I don't know, but doesn't that even make them cooler?
Yes.
It's like... But I tell you, remember we've talked about that American Airlines article, American Way article I read that time?
Yeah. I don't know. Did we talk about it on the pod?
I don't know. But I mean, they did find them. Somebody that... Because, you know, they write... A lot of those people that do that are out of Dallas. Because I guess that's a hub or whatever. Right for the American Way or... Is that what it's called?
Yes. Yeah. Well, American is based in Dallas and best in Dallas.
Yeah. And it's funny.
So they publish American Way out of Dallas, I'm sure.
Yeah. And so I read that on the way to Roswell on a freaking plane to go to Tim's cabin out there. Mm-hmm. And I was freaked out. I was like, of all magazines in an American Airlines thing, they called them and they answered the phone and did a full interview of, what are you doing? And they were like, well, we wanted to raise our kids, so we didn't want to travel anymore, and things were fine. But now they're grown, so we just started writing songs. And so then I was thinking, well, kick ass. There's going to be a new Sundays record, and nothing happened.
How long ago was this article?
So we were working on the last Calhoun record, so that was easily 5 years ago.
So they're sitting on a mountain of Sundays tunes by now.
Or they just were like, we can't do it anymore.
Or they're like, we can't... I mean, we put out 3 tremendous albums. We can't top that. Let's just leave it be.
I know, but don't you really just want to be friends with just her and him? That's fine. Both on the Instagrams.
Yeah, but they're not on the grams.
Have you ever looked her up?
No.
Do it. Let's do it right now.
Do it right now.
We're doing an experiment right now. She had the best look, didn't she? It was like this really like awesome young librarian kick-ass look.
There's a bunch of fake Harriet Wheelers. I don't think any of these are her.
She doesn't seem the type that would put official after her name, would she?
Mm-mm. There is a hashtag Harriet Wheeler is a goddess. Yeah, I mean, I think they have gone completely off the grid, and more power to them. Just wish they would... I mean, even just do us a COVID pop-up show, just the two of you in your living room. And just
some things, like a shaker and a...
Yeah, just let Harriet belt out a couple. And let us have a Merry Christmas.
Oh, man, wouldn't that be great? They just hang around. They're probably just up there with the Thompson twin people, just... Except they're not married anymore.
Maybe she's like one of those really cockney girls who's really ballooned up and eats lots of scones all the time.
Man, I really didn't think you were gonna do that. That was shocking.
Scones! Hello, scones!
Scones all the time.
All right, before we get into the next Manny Jam and another Manny Girl Crush, I want to bring your attention to a little promo that we did for the pod last month that went well enough that I figure I'll do it again. You may have heard me mention it at the top of the pod in the promo that we haven't yet recorded at this point in time, but will have played before you're hearing me talk about it now. So we're kind of in an Inception type loop.
Man.
At the moment.
You're freaking me out, bro.
But I asked our friends, our listeners, last month to write us a review on Apple Podcasts and do a screen grab before they posted it and email it to me or tweet it to me. And then I would send them a koozie, a nice Htwow koozie.
Koozie.
We had a number of them. Some of them I don't think followed instructions, like they just felt like, well, I'll do them a solid and I'll write them a review, but I don't really need a koozie. So I think I only redeemed like maybe 4 or 5 koozies, but I'll do it again. As I said off the top, if you do it, and even if you've done it before and you just want a matching koozie, just set up another burner account and send me the email. But I wanted to do a little viewer mail. Do you have a sounder for viewer mail?
Yeah, and it goes like this.
You've got mail.
Perfect. Yeah, so let's just see what people are saying about Htwow. We're up to 80 ratings, by the way. I think if we can get to triple digits, things are really going to start happening for us. I don't know.
What does that mean? When things start happening for us, what does that mean?
That means like other pods want to collaborate with us.
Oh man, then let's not do that.
No, I don't know. No, we get on like the Apple front page or something. I don't know.
Okay. Now that's fine. I don't want to collaborate.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, all of this just helps us in the Apple rankings, helps more people find us. It makes us look more legit. The more people that give us 5-star reviews.
You know who I would collaborate with?
Who?
Your buddies that do the Man City Johnny Marr thing.
Noisy Pod?
Yeah, dude.
They would totally do it with us.
That's good. Well, what would you do if you...
I don't know. If they could get Johnny on.
There we go. We'll ask them. They're better at it than we are.
Yeah. They are legit. We're just we're still noobs at this now in season 4.
Noisy Pod.
Hit us up.
Listen to it.
All right, so let's see. Let's go back to the oldest one here. Chucky Trevor writes, "Great tunes and great hosts. Love these guys and their podcasts. I always learn something and end up with new songs and artists in my streaming playlist. Do yourself a favor and subscribe."
That's great.
Rosh Frisco says, "Great show. Love the song swaps. Hear something new every episode." Gator in Texas says, "First timer.
Really?
I've been meaning to subscribe to Htwow for years, and a friendly tweet by Davey totally reminded me. First off, I love the 80s soundtrack that was included. Davey was probably my fave on The Orphanage. Really missed that show. This was the first intro to Toby. Also wanted to listen to Davey's COVID experience, which was last month. Got an hour into it, and I have to listen to the rest later, but good stuff, Davey." So I didn't even finish it. Let's see. M. Salseed1 says, "New to podcasts. This show has something. I'm new to podcasts. I find them to be a nice alternative to all music all the time while I'm running. But I downloaded Htwow specifically to listen to the Old Grey Wolf interview, and I am hooked. High Tea and Old Waver keep me interested in the subject, the music, and the beer. Everything a man needs, well, almost everything. Keep up the good work. I'm listening now to the Thompson Twins book report and the cults. Good stuff."
It's good. He's right about the running in the pod.
Yeah, you just need to change it up. You can't just have jams nonstop.
Yeah, it gets to be a beating. I don't know what it is, but sometimes you just need someone talking.
Yeah, it helps you zone out.
Yeah, it's a good move.
Big Chub writes, "Always entertaining and funny. Great commentary on local music and funny stories." LaDonna writes, "Must listen. An entertaining way to spend some time with the boys. New music and old favorites. Always a laugh in there as well. Toby and Davey are awesome. Give it a listen and make sure to subscribe."
LaDonna.
And Christopher Slater's uncle writes, "Random thoughts. Could use more baby arm and hints from Heloise. Other than that, it's on par with a night of light drinking."
I agree.
So, you know.
I agree with everything that was just said.
If you can beat any of those reviews and you want to be read on a future pod and you want a free koozie, then you know what to do. All right. So when we talked about Harriet Wheeler, the other Chantreuse, is that the word?
I don't know.
The other siren.
Yeah, there you go.
That Manny was obsessed with was from the Cocteau twins.
Man. Would you say the Cocteau twins and the Sundays maybe two of the most underrated bands in history?
Yes. Completely different.
Totally different.
Completely different, but
they
yes.
could play the same show, but
Sure.
totally different bands.
Yeah, so Elizabeth Fraser is the singer for Cocteau Twins. for the most part of their existence, they were a three-piece, right?
Yeah, Robin Guthrie, Simon Ramone,
Yes.
who does Bella Union, the label, Bella Union.
Yes.
And, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so they always had the drum machine. So they had guitar, bass, and Elizabeth was the singer. Mm-hmm. And they started out very kind of goth, and then they got more atmospheric, and then they kind of turned pop at the end.
Well, as poppy as they can be.
Well, pop through their weird filter.
Did you, were you at the Bomb Factory show?
The Bomb Factory show.
For the 4 Calendar Cafe?
That wasn't at the Bomb Factory.
It was when I saw him.
No.
We've had this argument
We've been
before.
over this.
We've done this, and
We've
it was
been
definitely
over this. No, it was at some place called Metroplex Arena off of 635.
No, that's what my friend saw that one. I saw them definitely at the Bomb Factory. We'll look it up again, and you're going to say,
okay, so maybe that was the Heaven or Las Vegas tour.
I think it was because my buddy went, and he was like on crutches or something, but I didn't go to that.
Okay. So no, I did not go to the 4 Calendar Cafe one. I wish I had.
They had like, they're a 3-piece, but definitely had a drummer at this, and like Robin Guthrie brought like 3 other guitar players that had guitars matching his Hunter Green Strat that he was playing. Because how could you do it by yourself? When you listen to the music, you're like, how could she possibly do this live? Because there's so much going on, but you don't miss it that it's not. She just hits the high points.
Yeah, I mean, there's no telling on a given Cocteau Twins track how many tracks of Elizabeth there are.
Yeah.
It's just like she just keeps on stacking more and more melodies and more harmonies and more layers.
In her own elfish language.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I think some people can't get past is that there are words, but it's just kind of gibberish. It's her own made-up language. On Heaven or Las Vegas, she started incorporating some English phrases, but they're totally nonsensical.
Yeah, but man, it's the best.
It is the best. And I would say, if I were to speak for Manny, that if Disintegration is not his favorite record of all time, then Heaven or Las Vegas is.
It might be. And if anyone out there would like to get into Cocteau Twins, of course, Bluebell Knoll is the one that most people all started with. There were other records before that, but that's the one that kind of started hitting for them.
Yeah.
So the 1, 2, 3 is the Bluebell Knoll, Heaven in Las Vegas, and then 4 Calendar Cafe. But Heaven in Las Vegas is unbelievable.
Yes.
From front to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I've played it for, friends of my wife who have
no knowledge,
no interest, and they're like, wow, this is really amazing.
It's amazing.
And it's a panty dropper.
I used to tell our younger friends that didn't know about them that, hey, if you're on a date, maybe you should just gonna play this if you're sitting around the apartment. Don't be creepy about it, but just put it on.
Yeah, if she invites herself over for a nightcap and you are looking for something to play, don't put on the Barry White.
Yeah.
Put on the Cocteau Twins.
And, have light conversation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, so we have played a few songs off of this album before on the After Dark and the regular pod because it's so awesome.
It's good.
But we have not played this one before, and it is the top hit on Spotify with like 31 million plays. It is the track 1, side 1 jam on Heaven or Las Vegas. This is Cocteau Twins with Cherry Colored Funk for Manny.
Eyes and glass, nor did Krista through
Can you do? We've gone over this a bunch, but can you? There's only one thing that trumps that, and we'll get to it. But you can't play anything after the Cocteau Twins, can you?
It's difficult. I was going to mention when we played the Cure that when he and I lived across the driveway from each other.
Oh yeah, you got to tell me
that was his favorite thing to do, was to turn out all his lights and watch the Cure show on his hi-fi.
Remember that big ass TV?
Yeah,
that obnoxious thing.
I think that this was after he had gotten rid of that TV. He had like the first smart TV in like 2004. It was the most giant, obnoxious thing. But yeah, so, I'll talk more about, because this was my first divorce apartment. And so it was just a little one-bedroom apartment behind San Francisco Rose off of Greenville. And so there were three identical buildings all in a row, and I lived in the middle one, and he lived in the one that was closest to San Francisco Rose. And we would always hang out at one another's apartments. This
is when he had the one on the end, right? And he had a little kind of side yard on that kind of double.
No, he didn't have a yard.
Okay, so this was he lived in those,
because he lived in the condos that were right behind San Francisco Rose earlier.
But he was on the end though, right?
He was in the front.
Okay.
I was in the back.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
So he was in the front of the first building. I was in the back of the second building, and we were catty corner across the driveway. And
what a weird spot. Did you know he already lived there?
I can't remember who. I think I might have moved in there first, and then he was looking for a place, and I was like, hey man, call my landlord. It's pretty cheap and pretty nice. And so we would hang out at one another's place all the time, generally playing music for one another, or watching Cowboys games. This is 2005, 6, I guess.
Does it seem earlier than that? Like 2005 just doesn't seem.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like 2005. That's pre-Parcells, right?
Is it? Holy crap! Is it really?
I'm gonna have to look that up. Hold on.
Campo?
Might have been Campo.
Bringing it back to sports. We're gonna bringing it back to sports. Bringing it back to sports. That's what we do on the parking.
No, so that was in the heart of the Parcells era. So Parcells was 2003 to 2006.
Okay.
So that's
right in the middle.
So this is Parcells, and then the beginning of the Romo era.
Wow.
And so we would watch a ton of Cowboys games.
He's a miracle.
And we would Manny would open up the windows of his apartment and point his speakers out the window, and then we would throw the football on his front yard. Just the biggest dorks in the world. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so the other favorite thing that he would do, and this was more later in life, because this was very much contingent on our friend Craig having a nice car, that Manny's favorite thing to do later in life was not watch the Cure show on his DVD player, but listen to the Cure or the Cocteau Twins or the Sundays at full volume in Craig's car.
It's a nice stereo.
From like 2 a.m. till 5 a.m. They would just sit in there and listen. And I never really got into it because I was like, I don't want to just sit in the driveway in your car. Mm-hmm. But they would just escape into this audio cocoon.
Yeah, I know. And he used to do the same thing in New York in his apartment. And I tell him all the time, we're not going to watch the sunrise. Like, we're going to sleep before the sun comes up. And sure enough.
Yeah, that's the one thing that in all of our reminiscing about Manny, in all of the gatherings, that we've had of all of his friends over the last few weeks is, not only how much Manny loved his friends, but just how it was never enough, that he never wanted it to end, that he was like a third grader on a sleepover.
But it was...
And he was like, we're going to stay up all night.
Yeah, because he's right. It was awesome. I would have to force myself to go to sleep because it was so easy to just stay up, end up walking from his apartment in New York to the Hudson and just sit there on a bench because, well, it's 6 o'clock already. We might as well just watch the sun come.
But
it's fun, man.
He always wanted to rank things, catalog things, and top things.
Yeah, you have to top the last trip.
Yeah, you have to top the last concert. You have to top the last trip. You have to top the last listening party in Craig's car, whatever it was.
Yeah,
he was always looking for that next juice. I do want to just spend a few minutes reminiscing about the most epic trip that the three of us took, because Manny loved to travel with his friends, and he and our friend Craig, he and our friend Jeff, they took a lot of trips without either of us.
Well, it's tough to do.
Just because, we had, we had kids, we had things going on. We couldn't always escape on these like 2-week European jaunts that they would do. And so it wasn't always us that were involved in these trips, but the one that the three of us went on that was the most memorable and the most epic was the Coachella trip. Yeah,
and every time I mention to people that I went to Coachella, they're just like, how did they get tea to go to Coachella and stay in a camper and do this whole thing? But I'm like, dude, Jesus and Mary Chain was playing.
This was 2007, I think. We looked it up before.
Yeah, Faithless was playing, and Willie Nelson was playing. I mean, it was basically, it covered everything. I mean, Bjork was there, right? I mean, everyone was at this thing, and our buddy Count, Mr. Michael Eldridge, who started the band with me and Todd years and years ago, he records all the DJ Shadow stuff. So he had VIP passes and all this other stuff. So of course he was there too. We just couldn't pass it up. We had to go.
Yeah. So it was 2007. If I can just run over the highlights. This was when it was a 3-day thing. I think it's only a 2-day thing now.
Oh, is it? But it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yeah, it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And yeah, I can understand how people would be like, how in the world did T ever end up at Coachella? But I think this was definitely the sweet spot of Coachella, where they got big enough to where they could get really big names, but it wasn't so big that it was kind of pre-social media, so you didn't have like influencers running around with their hats.
Yeah, and you're basically...
Everybody was there for the music.
And you're walking around in a bunch of really nice polo fields. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's in the middle of the desert, but it's on these polo grounds.
It's amazing. It's really... And the weather was really good. So we flew into LA.
Yeah.
Rented a camper van thing. Drove from LA to Coachella, which, how long was that?
From LA to Coachella, I think it was like 2 hours.
It
maybe?
took a while
2.5
get
hours?
there for sure. So
we were in stop and go traffic out of LA, which was interesting.
Yeah, but we stocked up in LA at the grocery store, and then and stocked up on all kinds of stuff, and then rolled out there and.
We stayed at an RV campground.
Yeah.
Because the previous time that Manny and I had gone, just the two of us, we drove and towed a camper.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We drove like 28 hours from Dallas to Coachella, and we stayed at a state campground, which was great. But we were like, we are never doing that again. So if we're going to do it high T style, we're going to fly and rent an RV when we get out there.
It was awesome, man. We had the best time. It
was
really good.
so much fun. So Friday, you're right, Bjork was the headliner. There was also Interpol, Jesus and Mary Chain.
I forgot about Interpol.
Arctic Monkeys.
Arctic Monkeys was right before Jesus Mary Chain.
Yeah, Jarvis Cocker, Sonic Youth, Faithless, DJ Shadow. This is all Friday.
Oh my God. So we burned it on Friday.
Yeah, Friday was definitely the night. That was also Tokyo Police Club was on that day.
What happened to them?
Well, we played them on the pod not too long ago, remember?
Okay.
They're all grown up. They have kids and they just play whenever they can.
Oh man.
You know, it's one of those things. But that was the thing, is that we would drive. We didn't have a car. We just had the RV, and it was what class is that when you have the Winnebago style where you have the cab in the front.
Yeah,
it's like a bus. It's like a small bus. Everything's connected.
Yeah, but it wasn't full on RV where the because it was just still like a.
It didn't have any bump outs or anything, did it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
It was more like a camper van. I mean, not a van, but but it wasn't full on RV where, like, say the front was smooth. It had like a regular driver hood thing, right? Was it smooth in the front?
I think it had a very steep grill. I think it was kind of Winnebago
remember.
Style.
I guess
I
so.
found some pictures. I need to look up the pictures.
But this was the Happy Mondays meltdown.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but the plan is that we would have to drive the camper from the campground to the RV parking at the Coachella Polo Grounds.
Which that was awesome too, because we could take a really long break before we went in.
Right, and that's the thing, is that Dave would be sitting there with his schedule, looking at all the bands that I wanted to see, and T and Manny would be totally in chill mode, having a Miller Lite, and we'll see you at 8:00 at Faithless.
Yeah.
So I would go in like mid-afternoon, like 3 p.m, and go see all the bands leading up, and then you guys would roll in like fashionably late.
Especially after all the bands we saw on Friday, and then I swear Sunday we barely made it in there.
Yeah. So let's see. Highlights from Saturday. Peter, Bjorn, and John were there.
Yeah.
Hot Chip was there. I can't remember if I got you guys to see Hot Chip.
We definitely didn't see the Whistle Band.
Fountains of Wayne was there.
Didn't see that.
Did I make you guys go see Chick Chick Chick? You know, the 3 exclamation points.
That sounds familiar.
The Black Keys were there, the New Pornographers, Blonde Redhead, LCD Sound System. I know I dragged you to that.
Yeah, we were all at that because they blew all of their good tunes at the beginning.
The Rapture was there. Mm-hmm. Kings of Leon, Travis, and then the Good, the Bad, and the Queen. As
terrible.
We've talked about many times. The Decemberists and Arcade Fire was one of the headliners. Red Hot Chili Peppers was the big one, but we didn't stick around for that.
We did not stick around. We didn't see Arcade Fire either.
And then Sunday, let's see. I know I went and saw Klaxons really early on, and the Kooks. I know I saw those guys, and Junior Boys. All of these things I saw by myself.
Yeah, we were not in there.
Let's see. What was the first thing that you guys may have seen? Did you guys see Soul Wax?
No.
I think I saw that by myself. Did we see Crowded House? Crowded House was there. I don't remember seeing them. Did you guys see Kaiser Chiefs?
Yes.
Okay, that may have been the first thing you saw.
Yeah.
So Kaiser Chiefs. Then, as you mentioned, Willie Nelson, Air. We saw Air.
Yes. Yeah.
Happy Mondays.
That was the meltdown. That was so great.
Yeah, they couldn't get their teleprompters to work.
Yeah, I remember Bez couldn't make it because of the old drug conviction back in the day, so they wouldn't let him in the country.
And then Rage Against the Machine was the headliner that night. We did not go to that.
We didn't see any of that.
Oh, man. But yeah, it was so much fun.
We had a blast. That was crazy.
You know, a lot of poor judgment. You know, we all took turns driving back from Coachella to the campground every night.
Manny drove it?
No, each of us took a night.
Really?
Yeah, each of us took a night driving home, which was always touch and go. Because this was, I think...
Remember, there was a lot of dust.
The roads were very dusty, and this was before GPS. Mm-hmm. Maybe you had a TomTom or something, but it was always sketchy, like making our way back and then having to back the RV into our spot at 2 a.m.
But we had it. We were good. And then there was the weird shower bathroom walk. Remember over there where you...
Oh, yeah, you had to go to the clubhouse in the middle.
Yeah, because we didn't really hook up our... Yeah, we did. We hooked up all that stuff, didn't we?
I don't think we ever used the bathroom on the thing, not even
Well, no, that's the
number
rule.
one.
You can't use the bathroom on the thing, but did we ever use the shower?
Well, we definitely hooked up the water because I would make breakfast right next to your heads.
I know,
remember?
just splattering bacon all over my face.
I'm really sorry about that.
It's terrible.
But yeah, I mean, I will... For the rest of my days, I will remember that trip fondly.
It is the Jesus and Mary Chain show. And I know you guys weren't into Faithless that much, but it was awesome for me. But the Jesus and Mary Chain show was definitely a top 4 of anything I've ever seen in my life. It was amazing.
Because that was when they first got back together and started playing again.
It was crazy.
It was so loud.
They've grown up a little, so they actually made it through the show.
Yeah, they weren't trashed. They had what's her face?
Scarlett
Johansson come out and sing Sometimes Always with them. It was just amazing. Like I said, that was like the height of bro downs for me.
It was unbelievable. I just can't believe we pulled it off. It was one of those
Manny
things
was the driving force. It would not have happened if Manny didn't make us do it.
Yeah, he makes all those things happen. And I was telling Craig last time I was in town, I was like, man. And you mentioned it. I don't know if you mentioned it or one of us mentioned it at one of our little get-togethers after the weeks of us dealing with all the things. He was the guy that did all this, made sure we went through with all the traditions. So we have to.
Yeah, we gotta keep Chili Bow going. We gotta keep Pizza Off going.
Keep it going because we're all real lazy about that stuff.
We gotta keep the group trips going.
Yeah,
yeah. Everything that would have fallen by the wayside had Manny not been the champion. We need to keep things going in his honor.
I know. He was even doing that from New York. It was insane.
I know. Okay,
so
before we get to the last jam, we have to do our second beer because, it's formatics. We're required.
Is it going to be gross?
No, it's going to be delicious. But I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you to take a big sip.
I'm definitely not doing that.
And I want you to tell me all the flavors that you taste upon your first sip. So here, I've poured it for you.
Oatmeal Wheat Valley thing.
Take a whiff first. What do you smell?
All right, that's not what I thought it was going to be. It's a little sugary, like honey. Oh. The aftertaste kind of got me a little bit. But what is it?
What do you think it is? I will tell you it's another Martin House because they have the mad scientists in their brewery.
It? It is what is it? Hold on. It's like a pie, right?
Close. It is a dessert.
Hold on.
It's only 6%, so neither of these are going to put us on the ground.
What is it? It's like a
It is a beer. It's not a sour.
I know, but it's like a caramel.
You're so close.
It's like a candy apple kind of thing. What is it?
Kinda. It is Bananas Foster.
Okay, that's what it is. It's Bananas Foster. That's what it is.
It's dessert beer with bananas, cinnamon, and rum flavoring.
It's definitely banana. That's what it is.
I thought the bananas, because once you know it's bananas, then you're like, man, it smells just like a banana now or later.
Yeah, that's what I even thought now and later for a second. It's got a really weird,
But for one beer, like for just a dessert beer, it's not bad.
It's not bad. There's no way I'm finishing this.
But I'm glad you didn't spit it out.
No.
I was really hoping for a spit take.
I thought you were gonna do one of those other things. This is not like what was the one? The Crambone? What was the one? The Crocus or something.
Oh, the Krampus?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what was in that.
That was the worst tasting beer. No, this is fine. This is actually...
The cinnamon kind of dances on your tongue a little bit.
Very Christmassy. You know what? For getting ready for a Christmas episode, you kind of threw Christmas in just a little.
You know.
Just a little.
Just a little bit.
Even though it's more kind of New Orleans-y, but I get it.
Yeah. Like, didn't they invent Bananas Foster in New Orleans?
I don't know if they did, but it's something like that.
All right, yes. So, getting back to what you were saying before I took us down memory lane with Coachella, if you're going to possibly Cocteau Twins...
If we're going to play another song and you're going to try to top it, we did it on an After Dark, and everyone was like, yeah, there's no way, and I won the night because, hey, the Smiths win. The Smiths always win.
Yeah, I think Manny, like many Smiths fans, I think Manny became disillusioned with Morrissey's later solo material and Morrissey's later politics. Yeah,
but still, it's still good.
Yeah, I mean, to me...
I can find something in almost every record he puts out that's still good.
I know. But I'm not going to be a Morrissey apologist.
Not at all.
I still look at and listen to the Smiths catalog, which is only 5 years.
I know, and it seems like they were together for 20 years, but they really were not.
But I look at those as like their own living thing. I don't associate that with anything that Morrissey did after, anything that Johnny Marr did after. It's the Smiths, and it will always be the Smiths.
It was and it will
always be the most magical, exciting, incredibly inventive band, and my favorite of all time. Manny may have kind of waned in the later years, but it's still my favorite.
I think on paper, no matter what, if he was stuck on an island, it would still be a Smiths record.
You think so?
No doubt about it. There's just, you can't, I think it was just like it is with me and probably with you, but it's the one that most reminds me of being 16.
Yeah, there's something about the teen angst and the Smiths that just are hand in hand.
It takes you back to the music, your friends, the clothes, the stupid hair.
Yeah.
Just everything. It's everything all in one. And
so
there's nothing you can do about it.
I have a story about this song that I will wait to tell after. But, and, you know, maybe this is a little morbid. Maybe it's a little on the nose. But it's what we wanted to play for Manny to close out the pod. It is the Smiths with There Is a Light That Will Never Go Out.
Take me out tonight, where there's music and there's people and the young and the light. Driving in your car, I never want to go home, because I haven't got one anymore. Take me out tonight, because I want to see people and I want to see light. Driving in your car, oh please don't drop me home, because because it's not my home, it's their home, and I'm welcome no more. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Take me out tonight, take me anywhere, don't care, don't care, don't care. And in the darkened underpass I thought, oh God, my chance has come at last. But then a strange fear gripped me and I just couldn't ask. Take me out tonight, oh take me anywhere, don't care, don't care, don't care. Driving in your car, I never, never want to go home, because I haven't got one all alone. Oh, I haven't got one. And if a double-decker bus crashes into us, to die by your side is such a heavenly way to die. And if a 10-ton truck kills the both of us, to die by your side, well, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. Oh, there is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out. There is a light and it never goes out.
First thing when I think about hanging out with Manny when we first met, definitely the Smiths are number one. And it is the one, you know the story of it's the thing that I used to give him the most shit about, is the Bronco Bowl show.
Yeah. Well, and so that was the one and only time that the Smiths played in Dallas. Mm-hmm. It was 1986, right?
I think so.
At the Bronco Bowl.
Never came to Houston, so we didn't.
The late great Bronco Bowl.
So I don't have this in my, I had an excuse why I didn't get to see the Smiths.
And so when Manny moved back to Dallas, back in March, right before COVID hit, or right as COVID was hitting, he stayed with our friend Dale, and they built LeQ.
Yeah, they had to quarantine because he had to have the 16-day?
Yeah, because New York was a hot spot at that time, and so he needed to quarantine when he moved here.
Dale took him in.
And they built LeQ in Dale's backyard, kind of the quarantine pub. And then while they were quarantining, Craig and Marissa and myself, we put together his apartment, Manny's apartment, because he left everything behind in New York and was starting from scratch. And so he gave...
But he would do that with every move.
Yeah, pretty much.
He basically just kind of he'd have one box of kind of like a memory box thing. And besides that, everything else went every single time.
Yeah.
Like no couch, no bed.
Yeah, he would just let people, take it off of Craigslist or whatever, and then just get a new IKEA couch whenever he moved into his new place,
Because
whatever.
it just wasn't worth it. Yeah.
Yeah. So he again sent like one box UPS, and then was starting from scratch. And so he gave Marissa his credit card, and she and Craig and I would assemble furniture. We would go over to his place a couple times a week and put things together and figure out what he needed, and ended up putting his place together. But to me, the coup de grace, the housewarming gift that I gave him that I thought was just the cherry on top, is I found on Etsy there was a screen print guy who screen prints old concert posters, and he had the Smiths at the Bronco Bowl 1987 in his store. So I bought it and framed it and put it on the wall.
It's gold.
And so then as we were cleaning out, we decided that it needed to go to Craig, because Craig and Manny had tickets to that show, but they couldn't go because they were both grounded because they had snuck out and gone to Monopoly's the weekend before.
No, I think it was the night before.
Yeah.
And they, had tickets to see the Smiths at the Bronco Bowl and decided, yeah, we need to go out the night before too.
We need to sneak out the night before to some dumb dance club.
Yeah. Any chance that I got, I would bring that up. It was, what were your favorite concerts? Well, I never got a chance to see the Smiths. That would have been something. If I would have.
To even have tickets.
To even have to, or even to be in a town where they might have, I would just lay it on as thick as I could to where he would just go, that's enough! I know! I missed it because I was grounded. And I was just like, I'm just saying, if you had the chance to see the Smiths and you missed it on their one time,
awesome.
It really would have been cool. It used to drive him absolutely crazy, and I love that y'all hung that poster.
It's a daily reminder.
Just as a good nut kick.
So the story that I wanted to tell about There Is a Light That Will Never Go Out. So one of, again, anytime I think of Manny, a million memories come to mind. But one of the top memories, and I know one of his top memories, was the summer of 2019. So this was one of the trips that Manny had planned, Manny and Craig had put together, and they were trying to twist my arm into going, and the way that they kind of pressured me into going and also peer pressured my wife, or my then fiance, into rubber stamping it was, well, let's just turn this into Dave's bachelor party. So it was Dale and Craig and Manny and myself, and the four of us went to Paris in the summer of 2019. And so it's just the four of us. We had two separate rooms, and and this was, if you recall, I can't remember if we talked about this on the pod when we came. I
think we did, definitely.
When
Your wedding room.
Yeah. So if you go back in the archives and find, it might have been August or September of 2019, we go through the whole recap of this trip. But they told the hotel that it was my wedding. Or that the trip was because I was getting married.
Yeah, they just kind of lost it in translation a little bit.
And so when we got there, the room that Dale and I were sharing had a great big bow on the door, and it was like it was our honeymoon suite.
Switch.
So we were the big bear couple, and then our little prissy friends. Having a little Parisian getaway for the wedding.
Right. It's a good idea.
So the main purpose of main purpose of going to France when we went was a festival called Rock and Scene that was headlined by The Cure. And it was the first time that The Cure had played in France, or I think in Paris, but in France at all, in 25 years.
Not since the Orange show.
Yeah, I can't remember, but it had been a long time.
Yeah.
And so it was a huge deal. And so we went, and this was on a Saturday, and so we had gotten there on a Thursday, and so we had, you know, a full day, and we had other activities planned. But then the day of the show, you know, like I said, Manny always wanted more, always wanting to put things off. I was having to twist his arm, like, we got to get in a car now. Let's go now.
Yeah.
So we have to find a car. We have to, you know, figure out where the car can let us off by the venue. We have to walk to the venue. We have to figure out how to get through security. And then we get inside and we realize that the concession stands
They're only cash.
They don't take any cards. It's either euros, cash euros, which none of us had, or your wristband, which had to be synced up with a debit card that was issued in the European Union.
Oh.
So we couldn't have even synced up if we had like read the FAQs
Yeah.
and had figured it out, we still couldn't have linked our cards because our cards were American. And
Yeah, but you could have gone and got a bunch of euros out. I mean,
we could have planned ahead and had a bunch of cash, but we didn't. And so we had to, you know, bribe some people to, you know, buy us beers. I forget how they all worked that out. So the point of this is that it was very stressful getting there, right? That we weren't sure where we were going, and everything was, you know, we're in this foreign country and we're a bunch of idiots and we're stumbling around trying to figure out how to do everything. Finally, we all four have beers in hand, and we are there just in time to see Johnny Marr on the side stage before The Cure plays. And we're all watching Johnny Marr. We're all loving Johnny Marr. The sun is setting. The breeze is blowing.
I'm taking selfies.
Beautiful July Parisian evening. And the last encore that Johnny Marr played was There's a Light That Will Never Go Out. And the four of us all were arm in arm, singing every word, raising our beers, tears streaming down our cheeks. It was such a cathartic moment because this was the culmination of the entire reason why we were there, was this fellowship of this song and seeing our all-time guitar hero, Johnny Marr, even though Morrissey wasn't there, an amazing rendition of this song. And it was fucking beautiful, and I will remember it always.
You know, I've said this phrase a lot, Dave, and I really mean it now. That is so gay and so great at the same time.
It really is.
Because those things go together a lot.
Yeah,
people don't
gay
realize
and great.
it. Sometimes gay and great.
Look at RuPaul.
It's the best.
Look at the Old Navy Christmas ads.
Look at everything. I wish I could have been there. I would say the only thing that would have made it better
is if you would have been there.
Is if I would have been there, because someone would have had cash. Yeah.
I was gonna pump up After Dark, but I don't think we need to. You know, if you are an After Dark subscriber, God bless you, and stay tuned because
this one's gonna be great. It's just gonna be the hits.
Yeah, at some point we will release the Manny After Dark as soon after this pod as we can, and it will be all of the hits, everything that Manny would want to hear, and in turn you would want to hear. And if you are unfamiliar, the After Dark is the premium content. It only costs $5 a month, and you get a koozie and the pod, and you can go to oldwaver.com and find out more.
For the next one, it might even be after Christmas, but we have to play the Manny Christmas songs.
Oh, shit.
Or do we play that during the After Dark?
We should play that in the After Dark.
I mean, we almost have to play the whole thing. It's like, do you just play a clip, or what do you do?
Yeah, let's play the whole thing on the After Dark,
You know what? But put a link. We'll put a link up on Old Waver.
That was the other thing that I was thinking about, and I'm glad you reminded me because I need to write that down. So in addition to the Manny Memorial playlist, the Manny video, the Manny obit, the Manny ASPCA fundraiser, we also will have the Manny Christmas medley,
which is probably the number one thing you need to click. It's amazing. Just do yourself a favor, and all I have to say is just listen to the first 5 seconds, and if you don't sit through the whole thing,
it's fine. But yeah,
you're a liar. There's no way anyone could hear the first 5-10 seconds and not sit through the whole thing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll package that for the next episode, and we'll play a snippet and play the rest on the After Dark. At some point, we will play it. Manny, he was a self-loathing Indian, and so it gave him joy to poke fun at his heritage, and he did so in the form of Christmas carols. That was our friend Nolan. He had this grand plan to get Manny to sing and got him just the right amount of cocktails in for it to be pure gold.
It is absolute gold. I played it for my parents at Thanksgiving, and they were just losing their minds. It's better than any comedy Christmas thing.
It's better than Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer.
It is
by far
unbelievable. So if you're into comedy and you're into Christmas, click on this.
Yeah, so we'll figure out how and when to play that, but it will be included at oldwaver.com in the episode notes for this episode. So in closing, please just hold your friends close. Don't let friendships fall by the wayside. Put in the work and tell your friends that you love them.
And if you make plans, follow through.
Keep them.
Sometimes drunken plans are the best plans. Just follow through.
Yeah, sometimes you say stuff and it sounds like a great idea at the time, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, that's ridiculous. We should never do that. Or we could never pull that off. Or we could never get everyone in the same place to do that. But you can.
You can. It can be done.
Manny proved it many times over. And, we will honor his legacy by keeping that going. And, if you want to, even though you may not have known Manny, if you want to keep his spirit alive in your friend group, just be the one. Be the one.
Take
And if you don't have a Manny in your life, be the Manny. Take life by the horns. Tell your friends and family we're doing this. Everybody have a great holiday. Thank you for listening to Htwow. We'll see you soonish, as soon as we can get to December. Sorry this is late.
It'll be a quick turnaround.